I can't stop laughing.
Take me to church. I worship back to God.
Oh my God, ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages,
Welcome to the ZB Live After Show with Zach and Brian. This is not the meat you're here for.
I might as well be. I'm more entertained than what I can normally bring on this show. So,
hey man, that makes two of us.
Just like I was like, let's start the show. You're like, okay, fine.
Take a pew, everybody.
Oh my God! Welcome in, everybody. Wow.
Dude, what was it? I think it was your Monday live stream. I heard the hype horns go off for 40 minutes. And I'm like, Lindsay, how are you watching this? She's like, I have headphones on. I don't know how I'm listening to this. Like,
who was it that was? Even Macca was like, can we retire the hype horns? Macca, of all people, right? Mr. Chaos himself was like, can we please retire the hype horns? I was like, excuse me? You, Mister, I'm gonna blow your OBS up while you're randomly working on something on a Saturday afternoon, like just taking a shot that I've got it open. That guy.
See, my mods hate me, but they don't hate me that much.
Dude, I am the epitome of that meme that with from Breaking Bad, where Walter White's like, we're done when I say we're done. I mean, that is my mods in a nutshell. That's what that is. It's crazy. But anyway, welcome into Z&B Live Unfiltered, where you can find all of our Lego news, notes, and opinions from around the globe.
So what's unfiltered about this podcast? Because we don't swear.
Unfiltered for us, for me, I'm assuming I assumed you understood. Maybe he doesn't. But unfiltered means neither one of us are in the Lego Ambassador network, so there's nobody potentially manipulating behind the scenes saying, or being worried that we're going to potentially say something that might ruffle some feathers. So we're going to give you our unbiased, unfiltered opinions on Lego as a brand, Lego news, and not hold back or pull any punches. If we legitimately love something, you're going to know it, and it's because we genuinely love it. If we are legitimately scratching our head going, what are they doing? You're going to know it. So it's not when we set out the tone. I remember I had this conversation with Brian. He said, well, I'm not, he's like, you can curse and do whatever you want, but I'm not gonna. I was like, no, that's not what unfiltered in my brain means. It's an unfiltered opinion on all things Lego, right? So if Lego ever came knocking on one of our doors and was like, okay, so we want you to be with us.
They're not gonna knock on our door.
But they're not gonna knock on our door. Come and knock on our door.
They're not gonna show up on a random your mid 97th hype horn, and they do the knock on Twitch, and they're like, you know what, we want to be part of this. Actually. Oh, there it is. Oh, what? Is that the Ambassador Network knocking?
That is them knocking. I said it after I said it to AZ. We had the infamous Cupid stream finally for AZ's partner celebration, whatever thing, and I pulled a Cupid outfit, Cupid 2.0 out after what was it, 14 years or something? I don't even know. And I said, this is exactly what what Nick and Johnny had envisioned when they started building Lego on Twitch was this. This is exactly what they all thought. 17 years. Thank you. See, I don't even remember. It's been 84 years. Whoa.
You did. He just went auto tune.
What just happened? The whole thing just exploded. The audio board can't handle the high porn, ladies and gentlemen. It's creating its own high porn over here. I didn't touch nothing.
That was the land knocking.
They're beeping us out. They're like, no, you're filtered now.
You know, we love you bashing our awful live stream again. Can you please do that, but be a part of us actually?
Yeah, right. Can you please? Yeah. So I think between Cupid and what we have to say today, I think is going to pretty much seal the deal for any kinds of thoughts in that line. But you can find these unfiltered, unbiased opinions every Wednesday at 11 a.m. or 11:02 a.m. Eastern time, right here on YouTube. Or you could find us over on the podcast formats like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. See, Brian does these amazing things in the description, and he puts all these links in the description for you guys, so you can click them. You can go into the About section where we are here on YouTube, and you can find us, or you can just search ZNB Live Unfiltered wherever you find podcasts, and you can subscribe over on the podcast that way. You can subscribe here on YouTube. You can give the old like button a smash. You can, hit those bell notification icons. You can share, be a pal, be a friend, and tell a friend by sharing out these links. That would be amazing. Oh, and by the way, I am sporting some we got some merch here as well. We're just gonna schlep bunch of stuff out there for you guys. We got merch out there you can buy. Look, I'm even wearing the ZMB Live jacket. I really like this jacket. You need to get one of these.
Listen, I gotta sell more books, man. Hey, man, listen.
You gotta sell more books. You gotta sell more merch too. Oh wait. He hasn't put his merch up on his store yet. There's that.
Listen. Hey, man.
It's fine. It's fine. Eventually he'll get there. Eventually he'll be a real boy. All right.
Give me after what's the day? What's the day that I can promise? How about November 13th? We'll do it November 13th.
Hear that? He's gonna have all of the ZMB Live merch live on November 13th.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll make it happen.
It's not gonna happen. 11:04 by Jake Swat. No, we were live by 11:02. Please. This is fine. This is what I don't even know. But you know who also had a spectacular, a stupendous live stream that we all could not wait.
It was not Lego
to tune into.
Yo, look at how my donut sags.
I told you it's a saggy sack back there, man. And I was like, you need to blow it up. Blow it up, Brian.
No, I will tonight. I can't. I'm not right now. No.
Why? Okay. Before we get into this so-called event, and yes, it's an event with a question mark, because really, was this an event? Why are we not good enough for an inflated sack?
So
I want to know why we're not good enough for an inflated sack.
There isn't up until it's just a process, and then I got to deflate it, and then I got to reinflate it for tonight.
Hey, it gives you an excuse to reach out to Tom Brady.
You think you're winning one of these gift cards from the live stream?
I don't even know how to actually, like, I couldn't find. So they have, if you go to the Lego website, that was one of the things that they did during the live event, was they said, okay, you can enter to win one of these $100 Lego gift cards, right? And it has on the page, learn more. So I figured, okay, that's where you go to click a link to do. No, it takes you back to the screen where the live event happened, and it's got the little vertical box, and then that's it.
So this event,
It was a mess. It was a mess.
So Lego has done that thing they've done a couple of times where they will get everybody gathered in for an announcement of some kind, but then proceed to spoil their own announcement by having the embargo be several hours before said event. So all of the blogs, all of the hardcore Lego people, a part of the Ambassador Network or otherwise, are posting about the spicy reveal ahead of time. So why bother getting people into the live stream? Obviously, the gift cards and the autographed set are tantalizing, but there's no reason to like check out the actual product. It was like a QVC style live stream talking about the Botanical Garden, which, you know, we'll talk about more in detail in a minute, but there's really no reason for you to watch it.
I have seen more hype out of a QVC live broadcast advertising foot powder than I saw from this. It's one thing to leak all the stuff ahead of time or let your voices in the social sphere put everything out there, be, you know, release the embargo early. I don't understand that, because you make a big deal about it. You've been advertising it for a week, and then you let everybody announce everything before you ever have a chance to go live. But add some pizzazz around it. Like and I still stand by this. The production value of their so-called live events is so mediocre, and I don't understand why. It's not like they can't afford or don't have people in place to help with that. They do. I see better stuff production value wise and hype wise coming out of their land members, like a Matt Mellish. Matt Mellish's editing is spectacular. He always has a great hype with all of his videos, and it's always spectacular. I see like Shy's one of the newer ones from this past year, one of the newest land members that's actually putting a lot of production value into his releases on social. Just take a page out of their book. Like, it's available to them. The blueprint's there. They just have to actually use it. And I don't know why. I don't know why they just insist on not going that path with this. They had, by the end of the live stream, I think they had like according to their little ticker, they had 7,800 people watching or something like that. I mean, for something that's kind of buried on their website and it was hard to kind of find, and it wasn't being broadcast on any other social channels or whatever, and like, that's pretty good, you know. But I don't know, maybe I'm the wrong demographic for these live events. Maybe I'm the wrong person. Maybe is that what it is? Do I just not get it?
I don't know if anybody gets it, because it's obviously not a set that was advertised for kids. So mostly kids are going to be watching it probably. And I don't know. I really don't like, this has been an issue literally for years. And I think a lot of the corporate politics are getting in the way of making like a cool broadcast that people can enjoy watching. And yeah, I mean, kids are at school. Obviously, they're doing it in Denmark too, right? So they can't have people after hours at a certain time. I mean, you could literally, there's also no reason to host it live. Like having the cameras, you know, making a live broadcast out of anything makes everything more complicated. So what you do is just pre-record the whole thing, have somebody on the back end that activates whatever incentive or giveaway or whatever in real time, and they could just be somebody sitting in an office late at night or a team of 3 people, and that's it. Right. You don't need to have it live. Right. So I feel like there's nobody who understands it from like a true technical side that is advocating for the betterment of the content, and instead playing by the corporate politics of whatever Lego is trying to convey. in Denmark. They're just not getting it. They won't.
Maybe that's why they don't understand Twitch in general. They just don't understand the
It's
live.
part of it, honestly. Like maybe, like there's so many unpredictable factors with live. So like, they have this not adversity to it, whatever to it. Just don't,
Yeah. Yeah. It's frustrating because it's like I said, the blueprint's there. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, and they don't need to. Things would go a lot more smoothly. There'd be a lot more entertainment value if they followed said blueprint laid out either by other land members or other entities doing hype reveals and hype launches and things like that. You can still pre-record the stuff and still set it for a live event that engages with people and invites people to interact together during said live event. But all of the assets are pre-recorded, and that's fine. I kind of look at Apple. Apple was one of the benchmarks where they've gotten really good at building hype and secrecy around their events and things. And they used to have a major live component of that. They would have their pre-recorded elements and they would have their live stage event. And I feel like they've kind of gone away from that in recent years, pretty much since 2020. I feel like since COVID, right? And then they just invite people into a showroom after the fact, and then there's like extra assets. People creating their own marketing, which they basically do because they have the. Lego invited a ton of land members and fans out to the fan event in Denmark just, 2 weeks ago, to see a lot of these things, right? That they're just now slowly rolling out. So like they've seen them, they've got their footage of it, they've been sitting on it. We know that happened. Like that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But like those assets are ready to go. So it's after the fact. Let them release it. And this is why I think the embargo time and date is wrong. Let Lego, let home base release the information. Let them get it out there. And after that, so if the live event is scheduled from 12 to 1, at 1:05, all of your land members are now allowed to release all of their assets. That's the way it should be. And the fact that they're not doing it that way is just a total misstep. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure. It's not difficult. It's not difficult for them to say, okay, yeah, we are going to, like, it's going to wait. Like, that's the embargo date in time, is that, not before, but there. Because it does. It de-incentivizes people to show up or care or whatever. Not, again, there were still 7,800 people, but I wonder how many more they might have had if everybody hadn't really, if the week before they hadn't released the X Mansion, and the week and an hour before that live thing was supposed to go off, they officially announced the Botanical Garden. Like, they, you could have had way more people in there ready to rock and roll. I don't know. My opinion on somebody that has planned events or produced content for television or videos or other corporate entities, like, that's just my opinion on how you potentially could handle that. Will they change? Absolutely not. They're dug in. They've been doing it this same way, it seems like, forever. So I don't know how they end up making a change at this point. So what was kind of a kick at the, it was funny. I was going back through and I was looking through last week's episode just for extra clips and things like that. And I got to the point where we talked about this live event being scheduled. And Brian did the most adorable and cute thing where he decided to hum the theme music to X-Men because he thought that was what was going to be. And I think it might have been Jake in our live chat who said, no, what if it's going to be the Botanical or the next Modular or something like that? And then we all started laughing about it because, oh my gosh, yeah, what if they decided to not take one of their most high profile releases potentially of the end of the year and not put it in their live event? Sure enough, that's what they did, because literally right after we got off the air last week, they scooted out the announcement for the official announcement for the X-Men X Mansion. And this set has been met with a lot of mixed feelings and mixed reactions. By the and mixed even, in the same person. Someone like me, it's like, yes, X-Men, amazing. Like it's got great figures in it. It's not an open back system. It's going to have it's going to split up, and we're going to be able to take elements off of it and all this stuff or whatever. But then you start digging into it and you're like, well, wait a minute, where's this? Or why did they choose to do it that way? Or why is it so small? Like whatever. So it was like, even in the same person, you can have mixed feelings about it. What is your ultimate take on this set?
I am severely disappointed that it is smaller than the museum that came out last year. That's my main takeaway. I think if you're going to be doing a Marvel anything, that it should hit all the notes it possibly can, like a Daily Bugle, like an Avengers Tower. And minifigures, I can take or leave, because there's an infinite amount of X-Men you can put in this set. And somebody will always find a way to complain about how there's a lack of X, Y, or Z. That's always going to happen. And you could have 3 minifigure series worth of just X-Men, good and bad, throughout all of the movies and the comics and the whatever. So to me, it comes down to size, man. Like, if this were half a base plate longer and 4, 5, 6 bricks taller in general, make it a bit just beefier, that would add more substance to the mansion, which has had such like a legacy throughout the comics and everything, that packing in all that detail is just, it's almost impossible. And I don't think buying 2 of them necessarily solves the problem. So what I think is going to happen from here is they're going to come out with a Lego set within the next calendar year that includes another one of those exact same Sentinels. It'll have other characters we didn't get in here, like a Beast, like a Jubilee, and whoever else you feel like is missing, they'll be there. But you're not going to get the full X-Men push until they come to theaters, hopefully within the next decade. We don't know anything right now, but within the next decade.
So do you're kind of seeing these as like additional play sets that help, that just kind of complement, like you can get like a Danger Room play set?
I mean, you either do that, or I mean, the crummy thing to do is to do a Harry Potter sort of a deal, and you have all these different modular sections that you can combine to make the full mansion. Now, this is in a different reality, but they've done this before. They've done Hogwarts and then the separate rooms, so it's technically 2 separate scales. So who's to say when it comes to them doing like a live action whatever, you could do that, and you could have all these different rooms that combine into the one thing. Or maybe the facade where it has the front door and that front portion, that is one set at $150, $200, and then there's more stuff added on, because like you can just keep adding on to this. Whereas opposed to Avengers Tower, you can't really divvy that up. You can't divvy up the Daily Bugle. So,
but it feels like so Avengers Tower, it feels like they waited. Right? Like they waited until the time was right for Avengers Tower. They took their time with it to give us our ultimate Avengers Tower thing. I don't know if this is, I'm scared that this is a one and done. Like I'm scared that this is we made what we think is the ultimate version of the X Mansion, and that's it. Like, we've got it, we're done. You get your $330 set at 3,093 pieces with your 10 minifigures and your Sentinel, and like that we're not going to go back and make another bigger version of this, even if, because this is like a culmination of comics and cartoon, right? It's not just the cartoon, it's not just the comics, it's not just a movie. Like it's kind of got Easter eggs, elements of all of that, right?
And the only thing branching off of this is X-Men 97, really. X-Men is not in the cultural awareness at all right now, really. And it won't be for another couple of years. Like I said, within the next decade. So this feels like hey, we should have made this 7 years ago. Now here we have it, and we can move on to something else. But yeah, it's definitely based mostly off of 97, like that classic animated show vibe.
And we don't normally like completely engage with the chat once we get into the flow of things, but I think what Matt is saying here is very interesting. Crazy thing is, one of the land designer interviews, they said this was basically done for years prior to the other Marvel modulars, so they should have had time to make this better. Like, they could have improved, but it's like I felt like this as soon as I really dove into this set. It's like they got partway there and then they just said that's good enough. Like, they didn't go the extra step. And I compare that to their marketing behind it, right? Where they did this amazing cartoon rendition with the Lego minifigs of that cartoon intro that is famous now. Like, people know it in pulp culture and they know that music. And they didn't use the music. It was like they got almost there to greatness and didn't take the extra step and add in that amazing theme that is just associated with that X-Men franchise now, right? And that's what happened with this set. It's like they got almost there and then just didn't take the extra step that they needed. And it sounds like, from this designer interview, they had the time to do that. So why not? Why not? What in Lego corporate world is saying you have to pull it back a little bit? Because it's not like they haven't set a precedent for a larger Marvel set at an expensive price. The Avengers Tower is a $500 set with 2,000 more pieces.
But the Avengers have had 10 years of consistent movies building up this one icon, and the Daily Bugle is the end-all be-all Spider-Man set, but maybe they feel like they couldn't justify having a price point of $300, let's say $300 when this was originally designed, and then $330 for inflation. We can't make an X-Men set over $300 because people won't buy it. They're just not aware of it, or they don't care enough.
Mm-hmm.
General people.
Right. So why, at that point, wait, right? Like,
wait even longer. So what else could be a big Marvel landmark thing? What could you do besides the Baxter Building? Because that, you couldn't even do that now.
Right. And I think there's enough other Marvel sets out there that you could still do it. But this goes back to a conversation you and I have had multiple times on this show. Is Lego pushing out too much too soon?
Yes.
Is like, are we really that thirsty for a newer set when there's still so much already in the pipeline that they haven't even released yet, right? When you could take a set like this and do some pretty amazing things with it and put amazing minifigs in there. The Daily Bugle, I still is a weird anomaly to me, right? Because, yeah, right, obviously inflation has increased the price, but the X-Mansion is $330. The Daily Bugle is $350. It's $20 more. $20 at 700 more pieces and 15 more minifigures. $20. You can't justify the price at that point, right? And you can't justify pushing this set out this early when you have that as your benchmark. You can't do it. You know, the Avengers Tower, which, as you pointed out, they waited, they perfected, they waited till the time was right. They pushed it out with 31 minifigures in that set and over 5,000 pieces. And they made it the ultimate Marvel Avengers set. And they did that with the Daily Bugle. They made it the ultimate Marvel Spider-Man set. This should have been the ultimate end-all X-Men set. And if they weren't ready, don't put it out there. If you've really been sitting on a design or an idea for a design for that long, like, give yourself you had the time to make it right. Make it right. and they just chose not to. It's like they got almost there and didn't go the rest of the way. And it's a bizarre choice to me. Lots of stuff I do like about it. I really do. I like that it's separated into 3 sections. You can potentially build with 3 people if you wanted to. Which I think is, I love it when Lego does that. Like, I really, really do. I think when Lego gives people an opportunity to build with their friends or family, I love that. I like that. I love that. I love that thing. What are some of the things that you like about it, Brian?
Minifigures are a good choice. I like the color scheme. I like it's vibrant and colorful. I like that it does include a Sentinel, but I almost would rather not have a Sentinel if it meant having 1 or 2 more minifigures on a slightly bigger mansion, but I kind of know that's not how it works. I have more of an affinity for the movies, so I recently rewatched Days of Future Past, and that is a very good movie. That is very, very good. I was very happy with that, and with First Class. Those are 2 excellent ones. But yeah, I am in general a newbie X-Men fan. I watched X-Men 97 this year, and that was excellent as well. So I'm whelmed with it. It is on the wish list. Is it at the top? No. Is it a get it before it retires? Yeah, but literally none of the Marvel modulars have retired in the 4 years they've all been out. So I feel like it'll be around for a while, and maybe a Black Friday next year sale, something like that. You never know.
Well, the gift with purchase is a way for them to really push that through, right? And try to entice you with it. Now, with the gift with purchase is kind of the same way, where it's an interesting concept. They give you the Cerebro, it's a iconic element to the whole, X-Men universe and the X-Men mansion. But then they did another thing that's very, very interesting with it, where instead of providing a new mini, X-Men character to go with it, they only give us an alternate version of Professor Xavier. So instead of the yellow, hover wheelchair that he has in this set, they give him his classic wheelchair. They give him the classic suit, whatever. It's logic. I'm confused. Like, obviously Professor X goes well with Cerebro. Like, that makes a lot of sense, right? They have another character that also could really go well with that, and that's Jean Grey. And at first glance, when I saw the X-Men mansion, the X-Mansion, I didn't notice her. I couldn't find her because she, in the promo material on Lego's website, she's got a weird blue cast to her face. And I wasn't sure what that was about. We're not sure if it's a reverse head or what. But on the flip side of that, if you go to the Lego website, they have the layout of all of the minifigs where they put them side by side, tick, 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 and Jean's not included in it. So that was the other reason why I thought maybe she wasn't. So in my head, I was like, well, take Jean out of that set, put Jubilee in because she's missing, and then put Jean in the gift with purchase, and now you're really encouraging people at that point to get it. Or you do an alternate version of Jean. You do like Dark Phoenix or something, and with Jean in the main set. Because that's the other thing too, is outside of Magneto and the Sentinel, they don't have any other villains in this set. Right? And the villains are just almost iconic as the X-Men. You don't have Angel, who is one of the original, but you do have Iceman. So again, they're just picking and choosing characters. I was like, I'm not sure why they're picking and choosing who they're choosing, but you have an Iceman instead of a or in the set and not an Angel. You have references to the original X-Men in the set with the Easter eggs and the stickers and things like that you're getting. But just again, weird choices made that I scratch my head and I say, okay, Lego designers, Lego, board members, why? Like, why are we making the financial decisions that we're making with this? What is it? Is $20 really that much? Like, do you just think that threshold wasn't enough to add 700 more pieces and whatever? Did that, cut into the profits because there was an added, on top of the Marvel/Disney tax, there's an added Fox or X-Men type of tax associated with that because we're using comic characters. I mean, I'm so perplexed by every decision made with this set. And size is another question, and that's something you brought up about the smaller than the modular museum set. And we're going to get into it here in a little bit, but I want to start thinking about it. Did size need to be this way because of to fit into the overall modular system? Well, they had the announcement they actually did make during the event was the Botanical Garden set, and I was just booing this Botanical Garden set announcement from the very beginning. I love the look of this thing, and I didn't realize that it was $330. It's the same price as the X Mansion, so it's like you're getting more pieces with it, right? You're getting 700 more pieces, but it's the exact same price, and there's no Marvel or Disney or X-Men tax associated with it. So explain this to me, Brian.
I can't describe who this is for. This is a Lego set based off of plants in minifigure scale at $300. The only thing I could assume, based on how popular the botanicals are, because having life-size flowers made out of plastic that don't die, that's great, right? It's for the botanist who doesn't have the green thumb. I understand that. When it comes to this and all these other buildings we have in the Lego play system, with our modular being unveiled in less than 3 weeks and on shelves in probably 4 weeks at this point, you're releasing too many big buildings that come out at one time for people to keep track of. And you could say, hey, this is a modular building in that same line. This is more expensive than any modular building that has ever come out. So do you add this to your city lineup? It's not a part of the modular lineup, right? It's not the same. So is it for the plant person? Is it for the Lego City person? Because I feel like the person who's buying the life-size flowers of the botanical collection, they're not going to fork out $330 for a greenhouse. So who is this for? How can you justify a greenhouse at $330? This feels like something that should have been part of the Bricklink designer program, and it should have stayed there, because we've had all these big buildings that are not quite, I wouldn't say obscure, but definitely buildings that did not necessarily need to be made in an official Lego set capacity. It's kind of what this feels like. And then you obviously have that live stream event trying to hype it up and really sell you on it, because you don't really have to really sell people on the X Mansion. This you have to explain a little bit, get people wrapped up in it. So I don't know who this is for. I'm very perplexed, man.
Yeah, so that's and I think the Bricklink designer program is exactly where this thing belonged, right? Because it looks like it should fit within the modular system, but it doesn't, right? Like it doesn't add the component. But again, we've seen other sets like this, right? Like they're tied to a license, but the Home Alone house, right? Not a modular set, but people are adding it into their overall cities and things, and it's a fun little thing that they just kind of put there in the background or whatever. Because these are great sets, and that's the thing. I think the set is going to be amazing to build. I think it's going to be super fun. I think people are going to go giddy over all the detail and everything that you're going to be building with it. It's an just astronomical price tag, even at 3,700 pieces. It's a pretty big pill to swallow for something that doesn't have other branding or licensing associated with it. And I wonder how much of that is going to turn people. I feel like they even went as far to add another gift with purchase to this, just to entice people to try to get it that opening weekend in November, right? They're trying to bait you into it, because I wonder if they realize that there's going to be an odd market for something like this at that price tag. You're getting some new elements that I know people are going to be excited about, and yes, the people that are out there buying upsets just to part them out and put them on their Bricklink stores and everything, they're going to be excited about it. But I'm assuming because of the hefty price tag associated with this set, those pieces are not going to be cheap on those Bricklink stores, right? Is that kind of how that works?
We're gonna put them in other stuff. Pulling from our live chat, Matt Mellish saying that Lego obviously made and Brightest Witch Bricks mentioning this Lego Friends Botanical set that came out. And yes, very cool that it basically is this, but way smaller. But also, in regard to price, it's $90, which is why people were so goo goo gaga over it. You could have made that $100 even and been fine with it. And yeah, there's obviously going to be people that take 2 or 3 of them and combine them. How many people is that actually going to be? I don't think enough to justify it as its own product at its own life cycle and shelf space, more importantly, at retail or Lego stores or in the warehouse. So I don't know if that would be enough data for me as a product analyst to be like, hey, here we go. But hey, it is what it is. I don't know. I'd be very shocked to find the person who is giddy about this set day one, builds it, loves it. I don't know if many of those people are out there, to be honest with you.
At that price, it's hard, right? Like, yeah, you give it to me at $250 maybe, and I would be kind of more inclined to be like that, like, because I keep going back to it. I look at our chat, and I think everybody agrees that it looks great. Like it does for me anyway. It looks really, really pretty. It looks really, really nice. I'm excited about all of the fun stuff that you're going to be building inside those rooms. Like, the detail outside, the flowers outside, the fun little things that they did. Like they pointed out yesterday during the live event, the rabbit that's eating all the flowers off the stem. Like amazing. Like I love that kind of storytelling that they do inside of sets like this. But then you have these modular people that are looking at it going, but it's not a modular. It doesn't fit into that system, whatever that system may be. And it's ridiculously expensive. So then those people are taking a step back going, well, I'm not gonna get it because of that. And so they wet your whistle a little bit more and they say, okay, well, we're gonna give you a gift with purchase here to maybe get you through the door. Trust me, I've the sail barge was my final nail in the coffin. I didn't get that. I didn't chase the gift with purchase, and I think I'm done. I think I'm done chasing the gift with purchases. It was like ripping the Band-Aid off. I almost did it. I almost pulled the trigger, and I think if it had been still, that gift purchase has still been in stock, when I finally was like really, really thinking about that sail barge, I would have done it, and I would have continued to go down that path. But because fate showed up and took the gift with purchase out of stock for me, that was my ultimate catalyst to not be chasing gift with purchase anymore. So X Mansion, probably not a day one. I really do like, I like my X-Men. So I kind of want, that was my comic. X-Men and Spider-Man, those were my comics growing up, right? So I kind of really do want it. But this, no, I'm waiting to find this on a Costco shelf for, 30% off, 40% off, and in 2 weeks. After
that won't happen
after it's been out. Well, one could hope. I don't know, man. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Costco shelves the day it's released on the Lego website, and they've already got a 30% off price tag attached to it. It's been pretty crazy. Got to join the club, Brian. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked what you'll find there. All the giant Dunkin' things of coffee you can get at Costco. My God.
I know. Well, I still have coffee though. I haven't run out yet. I made a fresh brew this morning too, so we're good.
We're good. And that has been a knock on this set though, is the lack of it fitting into the modular system. I, Brian, am not a modular guy. I don't,
which is shocking to me.
I don't,
because it is a consistent, systemized creation that comes out every year. You can bank on death, taxes, a modular building coming out, and a Winter Village set coming out every single year. Every single year.
So there's a couple levels to this that I want to talk about. Number one, the definition or the characteristic, not definition, but the characteristics of a modular. This is what Lego says. Intricate details, set that features many figures inside and outside the buildings and are full of surprises to discover. Unorthodox building techniques, sets that use techniques that aren't usually used in other Lego sets. The suggested age is suggested around 16 years or older. And new sets that, like you just said, are released annually, right? So you can bet on it being really a new one being released annually. And having like read all of that, right, and not being a person that chases the modular sets every year, why would they not just take this botanical set and say we're going to make it into the modular system? Well, I guess what doesn't make this botanical set fit into the modular system? Why are people upset about that?
I see the modulars that come out every year as and this is what I love about them and the Winter Village stuff, and what I loved about the fairground stuff until they stopped doing it for some stupid reason. I love those sets. All right. They fall within a similar system. People love the collectability of things, the mystery boxes, the pins, the figures, or whatever. People love those Funko Pops because they all have the same form factor. You know, roundish head, black beady eyes,
Brick
whatever,
heads, baby.
smaller body.
Brick
right?
heads.
Yeah, brick heads. You have Lego minifigures. Even when you go to the big figs, they still have kind of a system, right? Even in Pro Gamer's Guide, we have the same head shape for all of the humanoid characters, right? Same idea. Same idea. People like that. A modular building, to me, is something that connects to each of the buildings that have come before it with the street in the front and make up a cohesive skyline, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I would, contrary to my skyline in my branding and in the beginning of my live shows, I would not put Hogwarts Castle or a Peach's Castle or whatever in line with the modular buildings, but I would for Avengers Tower, for the Sanctum Sanctorum, right? But those are branded. Those are intellectual property. Those exist as their own now annual release. A modular building is a annual release that is non-IP Lego sets that connect cohesively as part of the street line that has been established for over 10 years. So they could have taken that Botanical Garden and put it into a form factor like that. Would it make sense for them to do that? Would you be walking down the street and see a more vertically based botanical building? No, you would kind of see it in that wider form factor at like a zoo or in Central Park or wherever. You're not going to see that walking down the street, right, of Denmark or otherwise. So I think that leaves them an opportunity to do a different kind of a building. We're still missing there's a bunch of professional buildings or residential buildings that there's no shortage of that stuff, right? And we had the museum, which is a great addition, although small, but whatever. They could have, but they didn't. And to me, that's fine. I don't know if people would really be gung-ho about a Botanical Garden modular. People were gunning for years for a museum, dude. I would love an arcade. I would really love an arcade to go on that skyline. Like you make it, funky 90s carpeted in the inside, and you have like the prize counter with all the different arcade machines. It writes itself, dude. Like
and they showed that they can do that with the micro build in the back of the Pac-Man machine. Like that little taste of an arcade, of the inside of an arcade in that Pac-Man machine is exactly what we need inside there.
Take that. You could take the Atari that came out forever ago. Like there's all different little things you can do to add your own arcade machine. Like
So that, and I agree with you. That's the thing. And that's why because as the modular novice, like I'm looking at it going, I don't understand why people are complaining about that. Like I've heard or read, 20-minute long rants about how this botanical garden set doesn't fit into the modular system, and why didn't they just fit it into the modular? And everything you just said is exactly what I was like. That's, if I was looking at it, I would say that makes sense to me. Like it doesn't seem like it would fit into a city scape of some kind, and that's kind of how I've
that's
always.
the same reason why the Home Alone house is not a part of that as well.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? Like there are modular elements to those sets, right? There's
other sets.
Right. It's still got the same type of elements to it, but does it fit into that overall scheme that they're trying to develop? And no, but that's where like the theme stuff, like an Avengers Tower, an X-Men Mansion, whatever, it does kind of fit that vibe. And
even the X-Men Mansion does not fit because it kind of, it's supposed to be what, upstate New York?
Right. Technically, it's location wise, it doesn't make sense.
The other three make sense to be part of a city skyline to me.
Yeah, I could see that. I like these themed ones when I see people's cities and stuff like that they've done with these. I like them as little Easter eggs. They're just scattered around, and you just got to find the sanctum or whatever, right? And it's going to be the same way with this. You can still add street elements to get to your X mansion, right? But yeah, to be fair, you're not going to shove it in. Like the X mansion sits alone, but they made it modular, and that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Did the fact that they were trying to match that modular size, right? Did that hurt this set? If they had said, we're going to treat it like the Botanical Garden, and it just doesn't fit with those other things, even though our Avengers Tower is, even though our Sanctum is, even though our Daily Bugle is, it doesn't fit that. So we're not even going to try, and we're going to make this set. Is that what held them back this whole time? There was a precedent of, we have to make it fit the modular system.
And when they make a prim and proper Wayne Manor, I really hope it is not a modular, because you could make a big honking Wayne Manor with the Batcave stacked on top of it, or even sell it as two separate sets. You could do that could be a $800. You're telling me an $800 Batcave, like a not the shadow box. Retire that black and gray thing. Stack it like that. Oh, and you sell the car separate, just like you sell the Sentinel separate, or that other Leviathan separate. Right. You sell the other stuff separate. You still have a complete Batcave with the big penny, with the T-Rex, with the suits, with the conveyor belt, with the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That big. Make it big. Gringotts treatment. Yeah, do that. Yeah. Gringotts looks stupid because it doesn't line up with the other Diagon Alley stuff that's already come before. Wayne Manor, it's its own thing. It's its own thing, man.
Right. Gringotts was another interesting head scratcher of a thing. Adam's Family House would be another one that I'd like to see like that, where like just nice, big, standalone, don't make it whatever. And they've got the Wednesday franchise now. They're using that, like, go full bore and give me next Halloween, give me next October a big Adam's Family house with all of the hidden things from the TV show and whatnot. It'd be really, really dope. But yeah, I feel
By the way, a topic that I want to add for a future show: what will be the first $1,000 Lego set?
Peach's Castle.
Make a whole show out of that. Dude, if they made $1,000 Peach's Castle, every neuron in my brain would fire off at once, and I would ascend to the promised land and never come back. I'm never coming back. Never. Are you kidding me? And I'd be like, listen, y'all, I'll build this whole thing in one freaking live stream. Hey, chat. Hey. I think everybody would come together and be like, "Nah, Brian's got to build this thing. We got to help him."
How many pieces? How many pieces is it going to take for a $1,000 Lego set? Because we've had 10,001, right? So are we talking 11,000, 12,000 pieces probably?
I feel like it would be 9,400. It wouldn't be 10,000. I think they're afraid to go over 10,000 besides the art set.
Interesting. Because what
I
the
think
Eiffel Tower was 10,001, right?
was it over 10,000?
It's over 9,000. So because you could obviously the price can be increased just because of
You're right. Yeah, 10,001. My bad. My bad.
the price can be increased just because of licensing, right? So if you start talking about specific sizing of licensed things, Star Wars tax, Marvel tax, right? Harry Potter tax, like you start getting into some of those larger sets where you add that tax, then you start worrying that like that price can jump up to $1,000 pretty quick depending on the size. But let's shelf that for a minute and let's come back to these modular systems because I really want I want to hear from the audience in the live chat right now. I want to hear people in comments. If you are listening on a podcast version of this later on, I want you to reach out to us on our socials and let us know. We've got, we've had modulars every year consistently now. What are the ones that stand out to you? What is your favorite out of all of these?
This one, Palace Cinema, Natural History Museum.
You really like that museum, huh?
I do. Apparently don't like it enough to actually keep the banners and accidentally throw them away first time. Shout out to RC for getting them for me. Those are the top three.
Mm-hmm.
Museum, detective office, Palace Cinema, and the diner. The diner is an underrated one. A lot of people don't like it, but the diner.
Interesting. Again, I haven't really gotten into these.
If you think your bank account hurts now, if you try to go back,
yeah,
you're cooked.
I can't. And that's why the jazz club almost got me there. Like it almost talked me.
I didn't like it that much. I didn't like the build.
I don't know. There's again, I never built it. So it was just like looking. I mean, I'm looking at them, right? Like I can't build them. So I'm just looking at it. But that was one. And then when I started looking at everything because of the jazz club, boy, that Palace Cinema, dude, that had my name written all over it. If there was ever a modular set that I need to somehow put on my white whale list, to go to the top of my white whale list, that Palace Cinema is up there. It's me. Like that's my first job as a kid was at a movie theater. I worked in that industry for 10 years before I moved to doing television stuff. Like I ran movie theaters all across this state that I live in. Like that's my life. And that is a set that if I could ever find it and it's not like going to break the bank, boy, that would be it. 100% that Palace Cinema.
That is the Lego set that I started with my modular collection because before it was the pet shop and I had it, but the pet shop, one of the buildings is completely vacant because they are painting it on the inside. And I think that's a stupid cop out. So the overall design style of it as well is very different from how they went to the Palace Cinema. So I have almost every single modular from the Palace Cinema onward. I'm missing the bookshop and the hotel. The hotel. The other ones I have, the garage I have, haven't built. Police station I have and have not built. But I have all of them.
The detective one during, just kind of looking this up for research and stuff. The detective office is one that people really, really like, and I don't really know what it is about that detective office one.
It's cool.
This one, but yeah, people really loved it.
Part of it is I like the idea of the pool hall on the bottom. Like it's just a cool looking, like the color scheme of it. It's got the barbershop, the pool hall, a detective, hut or area up above. Like it's just cool. It's dynamic. It has the area in the middle. Like it just it's perfect.
Yeah. I feel like whoever's designing all these like lives in Kansas City or something, like, because all of these all look like straight out of downtown Kansas City. It's pretty crazy how much they look like that.
They vary. Like, I mean, the hotel is based out of like Cuba, I think.
Sure.
Was the inspiration.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I need to steer clear of these as much as humanly humanly possible. Brian, thank you so much for another fantastic episode. I knew we were going to get spicy on this one. We had a lot of opinions about some of the stuff coming out, which again goes back to the unfiltered part of this. It's just, these are our opinions. It's just like anything else. We may not look at a set and go, that's our cup of tea. You may, and you may want to try it out for yourself. Do that. Experience it all. Don't just take our word for it on a set. Like, don't let us sway your opinion on, yes or no. If you're going to spend over $300 on something, you have to make that decision for yourself. But these are just our opinions based on what we see without having these things in hand. And I know my opinion has been changed by actually building something. 100%. I've either have gone to the past. I was so excited about it, and then I actually sit down to build it, and then I don't love it. But then there are other times where I, wasn't that excited about it, sit down to build it, and my God, it's one of my favorite sets of all time. So it can happen. Just give yourself the opportunity to make it happen. Mr. Bricks O'Brien, thank you so much for another fantastic show. You can catch him anywhere and everywhere on the internet at Bricks O'Brien. You've got a big giveaway coming up. Explain that real quick.
It's the Sega Dreamcast giveaway happening next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Doing a little Halloween spectacular. So I'll remind everybody when we do next week's show, which will also be our 1-year anniversary show, which is cool. And you're
gonna wear a tie. You're gonna wear a bow tie.
I don't know about that, but
you're gonna actually inflate your sack for our 1-year anniversary.
Yes, I'll do that. Pumpkin carving tonight as well. I gotta actually go to the store and pick that up.
There you go.
Do that tonight.
Speaking of anniversaries, it's my wife and I's 14th wedding anniversary today.
Congratulations.
And you can find me anywhere and everywhere on the internet at Zach M. Rutledge. And I've got a big giveaway coming up on Halloween night, October 31st. I'm going to be giving away the Nightmare Before Christmas set. You can earn points by watching the live stream over on Twitch. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube and check us out over on the podcast channels. We really appreciate you all. We love you all. We like you all. And we cannot wait to see you guys again next time here on Z&B Live Unfiltered. Bye-bye.